So all non-attorneys have a seat. Are there any non-attorneys who don't have a seat yet? Okay, so now if you're an attorney, just grab a seat. I see a lot of empty seats. All right, so who can tell me why we just did that little exercise of moving you around? Raise your hand if you know why. Raise your hand if you want to take a guess why.
Is this on? I would say sales comes first.
Why?
I would say so that the non-salesperson can get more out of it.
Next, why?
That until something gets sold, there's no work to be done?
Anyone else?
So we're not influenced by attorney opinions?
Throw in the back.
So that we get a little shake for our egos. We're not the most important part of the sales process.
All right, now, who can remember what I actually said? What did I actually say? Throw the microphone to her.
So that you could tell who's who.
That's why I asked everyone to move around. I want you to begin learning to listen to what people say, okay? If someone says something, give them the courtesy and give them the respect of believing that they mean to say what they're saying, all right? But you're all in the habit of not really paying attention to what people say. You don't really listen to what people say. You don't take what people say seriously. You know how I know you're in the habit of doing this? Because you're not walking around bloodied and bruised and beaten up by people. Because to get through a day in modern society, you unfortunately have to discount most of what most people say, because most of what most people say is bullshit. So you're trained and accustomed to not actually take them seriously when they say things. I told you exactly why I wanted to move everyone around. I wanted to know who the attorneys are, and I wanted to know who the non-attorneys are, because I'm going to have different conversations with you. And I can kind of see the line, like right about there is where the attorneys are in the back and the non-attorneys are in the front. It's very simple. Before we were, while you were all outside getting your COVID tests and everything, I was having a conversation with my sales team, and they were talking about a person who said that he's not going to come to the live bonus thing. There's a 4-week virtual boot camp that we run. And at the end of the 4-week virtual boot camp, there's a live meeting that takes place on the Friday before the live quarterly meeting. And this person happens to be in Canada, and he said, well, I'm not coming because it's illegal for me to travel. Is there anyone here from Canada? Is it illegal for you to travel? Right. It's inconvenient to travel across the border, but it's not illegal to travel across the border. People say things that they don't mean. People say things that they've never even thought about. People say things and then they make rules in their lives. They make decisions about their lives based on things that I promise you they have never even thought about for 5 minutes. So they'll wake up every day and live in a house, drive a car, go to an office, do a job, take vacations, wear clothes, eat food, educate their children. Their entire life will be based on a series of rules and beliefs and statements about how things are and how things have to be that I promise you, if you will dig in, they have not even given it 5 minutes of thought. How many 5-minute increments are there in an hour? 12. How many hours are there in a waking day? In a waking day? About 12. So that's 144 5-minute opportunities every single day to stop and think for 5 minutes, why am I doing this? Why am I living my life this way? Why am I not doing what I want to do? Why do I keep doing things I don't want to do? Why am I putting up with the shit that I'm putting up with? You have 144 5-minute opportunities every single day. Someone with a calculator, please. 144 times, what is it, 356? 365? I didn't learn the months of the year till like I was out of law school, just so you know. Like literally, I still have to start off with January, February, March in order to get to April. So how many days are there? So there's 52,500 5-minute increments every single year for every one of us to stop and say, I'm going to give 5 minutes of my undivided attention to thinking about why I'm doing what I'm doing and how do I want to be living my life. And most people go their entire life, their entire adult life, without ever thinking about it. I promise you, most people, when they tell you why they're doing what they're doing, it's not real. I'm not saying they're liars. I'm not saying they're being dishonest with you. I'm saying they just have never given it a single thought in their whole life. Think about that for a minute. Like, I literally told you exactly why I wanted you to do what I wanted you to do. And everyone had these stories that you basically made up out of your ass to explain why I asked you to do what I wanted you to do when I just finished telling you why I wanted you to do what I wanted you to do. I want you to just pay attention to that, right? Pay attention to where you've got this going on in your own head. Pay attention to where you're having a conversation with someone, but you're not really involved in that conversation. You're kind of in your own head telling yourself stories. What does this person think about me? What's going to happen if I say this? What's my boss going to say if I say that? What's this person think about my clothes? What's this person judging me about my hairstyle? What's this person judging me about, my age? What's this person judging me about my race, my religion, my sexual orientation? And you're not even paying attention to the conversation because you're all stuck in your own head making up stories. Okay? So let's talk about truth. What's truth? Do we all agree that truth is important? Yes? Raise your hand if you agree truth is important. All right. So if you've already done this exercise with me, this is not this is not where I am testing to see if you can remember the last time we had this exact same conversation. So if you raise your hand and you know the answer and you've had this exact same conversation with me because you've done this exercise 3 times before, you're going to look like a show-off idiot. Got it? It's like, ooh, I know the answer. I would hope you would know the answer. We've had this conversation 3 times before. Let everyone who hasn't had this conversation with me have the experience. Okay, everyone? Got it? Yes? I feel like my cousin Vinny. Like, thank you, Your Honor. Someone other than Your Honor. All right. We agree that truth is important. We agree that reality is important. Yes? All right. So what is truth? Who can tell me what truth is? Throw the microphone to him, please. Yes. What's truth?
That which corresponds to reality.
Damn. Usually we have a lot of fun. Almost every other time I've ever done this exercise, I can always count on a good 2 or 3 minutes of people saying, truth is in the eye of the beholder, truth is relative, truth is... Who's heard some other things about what truth is? Raise your hand.
The way and the life.
Sorry?
The way and the life.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
It's a biblical reference.
I'm asking what it means.
It means
See,
that
this is exactly the point I was talking about before, right? I don't know what that means. I'm not asking you what does that mean as a trick. I'm not asking you what that means as a gotcha. I'm not asking you what that means as part of some big device. I'm asking what that means because I don't know what it means, and I want to know what it means. I just don't know what that means. If a person says to me, well, I'd love to come to the live event, but you see, it's illegal for me to travel from Canada to the United States, I'm not going to dismiss the person as a liar. I'm not going to discount the person as a fool. I also don't assume that I know everything in the world there is to know. And I have a strong enough ego to acknowledge that I can learn something from everyone. Even a homeless bum probably has something to teach me, sincerely. So when a person says, it's illegal for me to travel from Canada to the United States, and that is something that I was previously unaware of, I go into a state of curiosity. Write that down, curiosity. The human mind cannot maintain a state of fear and a state of curiosity at the same time. It is completely binary for how our minds work. You're either afraid or you're curious. You can't be both. Anytime you're afraid, you ask yourself, this is very curious. I wonder what. I promise you the fear will go away really quickly. So when a person says to me, it's illegal to travel from Canada to the United States, this is interesting. I'm unaware of this. I'm not going to say, no, it's not, right? Maybe this guy knows something that I don't know. Maybe I can become smarter by asking a question. And I say, oh, that's really interesting. I haven't heard of that before. Would you explain that to me? Why is it illegal for you to travel from Canada to the United States? Now, we may discover that there is a reason why it's illegal for this particular individual to travel from Canada to the United States. Maybe he's going to respond with, well, you see, I'm under house arrest, and I'm not allowed to leave the country. I don't know, right? You have no idea what he's going to say. Unless you're, but this is the point. But what people end up doing is they start telling themselves all these stories, and then they get triggered by their stories, and then you never even find out what's what, and you miss the opportunity to help this person think things through, because maybe he didn't mean to say it's illegal. Maybe you can help him realize it's not illegal, it's just inconvenient. At which point you're now having a conversation about which is more inconvenient for you, to deal with the inconvenience of traveling from Canada to the United States. Maybe there's a quarantine when you get back or something like that. Or is it more inconvenient for you to not make the money you want to make for the rest of your life? Which is more inconvenient? But you never get to that conversation if you're in your head telling yourself stories, and if you're not helping people deal with truth and reality, and if you're letting your ego get in the way of your curiosity. So, truth is reality, yes? Okay, well, if truth is reality, then what's a lie? Someone had an answer, but they didn't have a microphone in front of them. So before we're done, you're going to learn to have a microphone in front of you when you speak, please.
The opposite
The opposite of
truth.
the opposite of truth is, by
It's a
definition,
lie.
a lie. What is the opposite of reality? Give me an example of reality, and give me an example of something that's the opposite of reality. See, this is where I'm now curious,
The
because I
reality
always
is-
thought that the Superman Marvel alternate universe was a thing of fiction, but now you're telling me that maybe it's not. What is the opposite of reality? Give me an example of something that's the opposite of reality.
It would be a lie.
Give me an example of something, please, that is the opposite of reality. No. She said something. I want to give her an opportunity to work this through. Guys, sales is a service for people. It's one of the most loving, wonderful, generous, caring, giving services you can render to another person. I mean, short of maybe a doctor or something like that, you are literally like a minister. You're tending to people's mind and how they think and how they feel and how they believe by helping them think through why they're doing what they're doing so they can make better choices. So you said that truth is reality and a lie is the opposite of reality, and I'm asking you to think through
Well, I was saying
give me an example of something that's the opposite of reality.
Well, what I was saying is that a lie is the opposite of truth, but
You said a lie is the opposite of truth, and if truth is reality, then a lie is the opposite of reality, and I'm asking you to
fictional.
give me an example of something that's the opposite of reality.
it'd be something fictional, like unicorns.
So every form of fiction is a lie,
No, it's a story.
but it's not reality. You said if it's fiction. You said fiction is lie. If I say to you, hey, let's go to the movies, and we're going to go watch a sci-fi movie, we're going to watch a bunch of lies, you feel lied to at the end of that?
It's just a story.
I know it's just a story, but you said it's a lie because it's the opposite of reality, and you said the opposite of reality is fiction. I'm not trying to embarrass you. I'm trying to help you understand how tangled up people's thoughts are, how much people say things that they haven't actually thought through ahead of time, and how often it gets them into trouble, right? And then what a lot of people do when you try to help them untangle their thoughts they've never thought through, they get defensive. And like, well, fuck that, fuck this, I don't need this shit, and then they leave. Well, they've just abandoned the opportunity to go forward into a better future, haven't they? Right? So you're obviously uncomfortable. She was about to rescue you, possibly because she wanted to show off how smart she was, possibly because something about what's happening here could be triggering her, and she's so uncomfortable that she can't stand it anymore, so she was going to release the tension by getting you off the hook. I have no idea, by the way. I don't know anything about her story, but it could be any of those things. But I care about you, and I want to help you have a better future, so I want to help you untangle this thought process. If you care about people, you stay in the conversation and help them untangle their thought process. I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming, I'm not insulting, I'm not raising my voice, I'm not saying anything bad about you. I'm just helping you untangle what you said to understand something that actually makes some sense. I'll get to you in a moment, sir, but I just want to help her get to the end of this. I know you raised your hand. So what's an example of the opposite of reality? Can you give me an example, an actual example of the opposite of reality?
And fiction's not the answer?
I don't know. Is it?
I
Is
would
it
think
real
it's
that
the
we're sitting in a movie watching a fictional story? When you're reading a work of fiction, is it real? Is it real that you're reading a made-up story for entertainment purposes? Is
Yeah.
that a form of reality?
Yes.
Then it's reality, isn't it?
Okay.
Fiction is a form of reality. It's entertainment. It's made up, but it's reality, right? The book is real, you're holding it. The movie is real, you're watching it. The story that you're hearing is real. It's a story that's been made up to entertain you or to educate you or to scare you or whatever. Yes?
Yes.
So what is a lie? Come on. Wait, microphone.
Something that's not true.
If it's not true, does that make it a lie?
Yeah.
By definition, hold the microphone.
I think so, yes.
Really? Life must be very difficult for you.
At times, but let's example. The truth would be that you're standing on that podium, stage, if you will. A lie would be that you're, if I was to
Hold the
say-
microphone.
The truth would be that you're standing up there. A lie would be that you're on the car. If I say, well, no, he's not standing up, he's standing on the carpet. That's a lie. That's not the truth.
So if it's not true, it's by definition a lie.
I would start my process from that perspective. I would try to.
Well, then it's a
break-
good thing we're here, because I'm going to help you have an easier life, right? Well, I'm being really sincere, because a lot of people that you're going to talk to, they believe that if it's not true, it is a lie. If you go through life believing that if it's not true, it is a lie, then it's probably going to be excruciating for you to make any representations, to make any commitments, to make any kind of plans. Because if it turns out not to be true, then you are a liar. And none of us wants to be a liar. And so every time we are asked a question, we torture ourselves and we analyze it to death. Because after all, I don't want to be a liar. Right? You follow what I'm saying? So truth is reality. Yes? Who can give me a better definition, a better working definition of a lie? Behind you.
I think that a working definition of a lie is truth based off of bullshit.
You must have had this conversation with me before, because you're using all kinds of buzzwords that I use all the time, but you're putting them together in a way that doesn't make any sense.
It's like a distorted reality that's based off of bullshit. It's not factual. It's not real.
Then what's bullshit?
Bullshit is something you haven't thought through.
Well, then what's a lie?
Something you haven't thought through.
Then what's bullshit? Next. What's a lie?
I feel like a lie is an intentional distortion of.
It's an intentional misrepresentation of our best understanding of reality. That's a lie. Reality is that I am standing on this thing. Right? If you believe that, and you tell someone that I'm sitting on this thing, you have lied to them because you've misrepresented your best understanding of reality. Yes? If you do your best to accurately portray and communicate your best understanding of reality, and it turns out to be wrong, you have not lied to them, you've made a mistake. See, mistakes will set us free. The truth sets us free, and mistakes set us free. A mistake is our best representation of reality that turns out to be wrong. All right. Which brings us to bullshit. What's bullshit? If truth is reality, and a lie is an intentional misrepresentation of reality, and a mistake is an unintentional misrepresentation of reality, then what's bullshit?
Bullshit, I think, is an attempt at swaying someone with something you know is not true.
That's a lie.
So it's a manipulation.
That's a lie. A lie is a misrepresentation of reality.
Right.
That's a lie. You just defined a lie.
Okay, so I'm
So what's
trying
bullshit?
to see what bullshit is different from a lie. Bullshit
Well,
seems
then
like
follow
it's,
along with the exercise, because you're about to discover. If you don't know, that's okay. Just say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, then give the microphone to someone else who might. What's bullshit?
Bullshit, to me, would be the story I tell myself or others in order to skirt the reality of
No,
truth.
that's a lie.
Story in my head.
The story in your head might be true. The story in your head might be a lie. The story in your head might be bullshit. The fact that it's a story in your head doesn't make it true, lie, bullshit, or mistake. Next. What's bullshit?
Maybe a lie is an intentional misinterpretation of reality. I think bullshit is
It's an intentional misrepresentation of reality.
I think bullshit is an unintentional.
No, that's a mistake. I just told you, a lie is an intentional misrepresentation of reality. You know what reality is, or you know what you think reality is, and you intentionally misrepresent what you think reality is. You've told a lie. You know what reality is, you think you know what reality is, you represent reality as accurately as you can, and it turns out you are wrong. You have made a mistake. Yes? So what is bullshit? Dragon in the back?
Bullshit is a representation without regard to the truth.
Bullshit is a representation without regard to the truth. Exactly. There's a book that was written by a Princeton professor called On Bullshit, where he actually traces the history of the word bullshit and basically boils down the definition to it's a statement that it might be true, it might not be true. What makes it bullshit is that the person who's making the representation hasn't bothered to think it through or figure it out. They're just saying things. So I want you to notice the difference between truth, bullshit, lies, and mistakes. Truth is reality. Does reality require someone to tell it? Yes or no? Who said yes? No one said yes. No one wants to admit to saying yes. Okay, good. Does reality require someone to see it? Does reality require anyone to know it? Does reality require anyone to like it? Does reality require anyone to approve of it? It just is. Yes? Reality is what it is. It is the way things are. You don't have to like it. You don't have to know it. You don't have to approve of it. You don't have to say it. It just is. It exists independent of us. Notice the difference between truth and everything else. Can a lie exist independent of us? Why? It needs someone to tell it. Lies don't exist without someone making representations. Lies need someone to tell them. Can mistakes exist without someone? Do mistakes exist independent of us? No, mistakes need people to make them. Can bullshit exist without someone to tell it, to spew it? No, bullshit requires someone to spew it. Reality and truth are the only things that exist independent. That's what makes them so powerful. That's what makes them so beautiful. That's what makes them so worthy. Because they're real. They're authentic. They exist independent of everyone on this planet. It is what it is. Irregardless. I make fun of people who say irregardless. Regardless, I was trying to say independent, and then I went to regardless, and I stuck them together as irregardless. And then I became one of those people who says things like, irregardless, that's not a word. Reality exists independent of everyone. It exists regardless of what anyone thinks or feels about it. Lies require liars to tell lies. Bullshit requires bullshitters to tell bullshit. Mistakes require mistake makers to make mistakes. Would you rather deal with a liar or would you rather deal with a bullshitter, or would you rather deal with a person who makes mistakes? Mistakes. Why? Sorry? They aren't lying to them. Wait, throw in the microphone.
Because someone who makes a mistake isn't lying to themselves.
And a liar is?
Yes,
Why is a liar lying to themselves?
because they're making up their own reality.
Do you think a liar is making up his or her own reality?
Yes.
You have any cash on you?
I don't.
You have no cash on you whatsoever.
No, sir.
You have anything of value on you?
My cell phone?
Can I have it?
No.
I'll give it right back to you. I promise, I'll give it right back to you. No, I'm serious. I promise I'll give it right back to you.
If you want it, you can have
I promise you, I'll give it right back to you. See, I knew I wasn't going to give it right back to you. I didn't lie to myself. I was very clear in my mind that I have no intention of giving this back to you.
Okay.
I've lied to you.
Yes.
Did I lie to myself?
Yes.
I lied to myself. How did I lie to myself? I made a conscious decision. Here, let's try this again. Ready? I'm not going to give him his cell phone back. I have no intention of giving him his cell phone back. My intention is to steal his cell phone from him. Hey, I swear to you, I'll give you your cell phone back. Can I have your cell phone, please?
No.
Come on, I promise you. If I don't give you your cell phone back, I'll give you $5,000 cash. Here. There's $5,000. Give me your cell phone. Come on, give it to me. I have no intention of giving you your cell phone back. No intention.
None.
None. You're not getting your cell phone back ever. In fact, here, go flush it down the toilet. No, don't. I've lied to you.
Right.
I've conned you.
But you've lied to yourself.
I haven't lied to myself. How did I lie to myself? I knew I wasn't giving you your cell phone back. I was very clear in my intention. I had the plan ahead of time to not return your cell phone to you. I planned ahead of time to rip you off and steal your cell phone from you. I didn't lie to myself. I'm going to go to bed at night knowing that I'm an honest person to myself. I lied to you. I didn't lie to me. Do you understand the difference? It's really important you understand the difference, or you're going to be dead meat in sales. If you ever want to have a successful career in sales, you've got to get clear about this. Do you understand the difference now?
Yes.
With the microphone, please.
Yes.
Explain it to me. Explain why liars aren't necessarily lying to themselves.
Because it is, I guess, because it is their reality.
No. Man, okay, listen. No. This is important. Who do you work for?
He's not here.
Who do you work for?
Jeremy Hughes.
Okay, Jeremy Hughes owes me a fucking bonus because I'm saving you. Because you are doomed in sales if you don't get this. Really important, okay? Keep the microphone. A liar doesn't mislead himself necessarily. Have you ever told a lie?
Yes.
When's the last time you told a lie? Tell me a time you've told a lie.
I can't think of one off the top
You
of my
can't
head.
think of a time you told a lie, really? You
Not
can't
off
think
the
of a
top of my
single time you told, you got kids?
Oh, yeah.
Then you lie all the time.
Yeah.
So tell me a time
That's a good
that you
I
lied.
I guess I hadn't thought about that. She just lost her first tooth, so the tooth fairy.
Oh, so you think there's a tooth fairy. You lied to yourself. You are misled about reality. Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Do you know there's no tooth fairy?
Yes.
And yet you told a lie about a tooth fairy.
Yes.
And what else did you lie to your daughter about?
The Easter Bunny, Santa Claus.
So you're just a big liar.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe in the Easter Bunny?
No.
Do you believe in Santa Claus?
No.
Okay, let's talk about some of the other lies you told her. No, honey, we can't go to the ice cream store today. Maybe we'll go to the ice cream store tomorrow. Do you have any intention of bringing her to the ice cream store tomorrow?
Probably not.
So you're lying.
Yes.
So you're a liar and you're lying.
Yes.
Did you lie to yourself? Or did you actually think you're going to take her to the ice cream store tomorrow when you know you're not going to?
No, I didn't lie to myself. I lied
So
to
you
her.
lied to her, you didn't lie to yourself.
Right.
Do you understand the difference between lies?
Yes.
Okay, it's really, really, really important because you got to understand when you're talking to people, the reason we're having this whole conversation, the reason we're doing this exercise is, give me my $5,000 back. And you're a fool, because I made a deal with you, and you gave me my $5,000 back. He could have said, no, we made a deal. You're not a liar. All right. The reason we're having this exercise, the reason we're having this conversation is because you're going to be talking to people all the time, right? And you're going to be talking to people who they don't understand. They're not clear on what's reality and what's not reality, right? How many times have you spoken with a prospect and they're not clear about what reality is? Come on, raise your hands. Every day you talk to people, right? And you ask them to make commitments, you ask them to make plans, you ask them to make representations, you ask them to give you answers to questions, and they're afraid to give you an answer. How many times have you had, you ask people simple questions and they're afraid to give you an answer, right? Because they're afraid of being a liar and they don't have permission to make mistakes. You get what I'm saying? Mistakes will set you free. Mistakes give you permission to say things and you might be wrong. Yeah? You got to be able to recognize when you're dealing with reality, when you're dealing with truth, versus when you're dealing with bullshit. Bullshit is when someone says something they've never thought through. Bullshit is when someone says something that it might be true, it might not be true. What makes it bullshit is they don't have any real idea whether it's true or not true. They haven't thought it through. They haven't done the analysis. They haven't taken the time to research it. They haven't investigated it. They haven't figured it out. Most of the time, they haven't even given it 5 minutes of thought in the last hour, in the last day, in the last year, in their whole life about whether it's real or not real, and that bullshit acts like a prison for them. So would you rather deal with a truth teller or a liar? Would you rather deal with a mistake maker or a liar? Would you rather deal with a liar or a bullshitter? Raise your hand if you would rather deal with a liar. Raise your hand, look around you, keep your hands up, look around you, look around you, look around you. Okay, put your hands down. Raise your hand if you'd rather deal with a bullshitter. Oh man, we got some work to do. I'm about to save your lives. I'm about to save your lives and I'm about to save your careers. All right, liars, no, there's no neither one choice here. It's either a liar or a bullshitter. There's two airplanes. There's two airplanes. There's two airplanes on a runway, on a tarmac. Thank you. There's two airplanes. Okay. One airplane, the pilot often lies, not always, but often lies. The other airplane, the pilot often bullshits, not always, but often bullshits. You with me? Got it? And the Nazis are after you. And you're gonna get killed if you don't get on one of these planes to escape. All right? And you know who the liar is, and you know who the bullshitter is, and you say to both pilots, is this airplane safe? And the liar says yes, and the bullshitter says yes. Which airplane are you putting your family onto? Who says bullshitter? Who said I'd rather deal with the bullshitter earlier? Raise your hand. Why did you just change your mind when we started making it more real? Throw the microphone, please.
A liar knows the truth and intentionally misleads you.
That's right.
Versus a bullshitter just hasn't thought it through, so wouldn't have
Has no
the
idea.
capacity to tell
The
you.
bullshitter has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. You're flying along with the bullshitter, and all of a sudden the plane starts falling out of the sky, and you say, I thought you said the plane was safe. And he says, well, I don't know. I didn't bother to check. I just said it was safe. The liar, at least he knows the truth, right? And he's going to get on the plane with you. And so while he may lie whenever he wants to for his own convenience and whatever else, if he tells you the plane is safe and he gets on the plane with you and flies along with you, there's a chance he's probably right. He at least knows whether the plane is safe or not. Do you understand how dangerous it is to go through life not making distinctions between bullshitters and liars? Yeah? Sorry? It's really important. All right, so when we're in sales conversations, we are dealing in truth. We're lifting people up to truth. We're lifting them up from lies that they've been told by others. We're lifting them up from lies they've been telling themselves. We're lifting them up from a state of bullshit that most people, I promise you, exist inside of. Most people, when you start to have these conversations, you will discover that most people are living lives of complete bullshit. They have no idea why they're doing the things they're doing in their life. They can't explain to you why they're married to the person they're married to. They can't explain to you why they're living in the house they're living in. They can't explain to you why they have the job they have. They can't explain to you why they wear the clothes they wear. They can't explain. There's no criteria. Write that down. Criteria. Criteria is your big clue to help you understand what's going on inside of the other person. If you can understand the other person's criteria, you're halfway to making the sale. Now, can we tell what a person's criteria is by looking at them? Yes or no? Can we tell what a person's criteria is by observing them? Really? Give me an example of being able to determine a person's criteria by observing them.
I guess it depends in the setting that you encounter them in. Like here, for example.
Sorry?
Here, for example. Other people's criteria in the sense if it's a goal. Everyone's goal.
You have like a friend here?
My boss.
Who's your boss?
Sam.
Who?
Sam. Sama.
Oh, Sam. Okay. I bet you don't know why Sam is here. You don't know her criteria she's using for being here, unless you've discussed it with her. Have you?
Take a guess.
And you'd be guessing, which is the same thing as
bullshitting.
You'd be bullshitting. You could give me some bullshit explanation for why she's here and the criteria. Yes?
Yes.
That's what happens when you guess about someone's criteria.
I could ask her.
You could ask her, right? The best way to find out a person's criteria is to ask them. So let's write that down. The best way to find out someone's criteria is to ask them. Figuring out what a person's criteria is gets you halfway to making the sale. That's a good thing, yes? That puts more money in your pocket, right? That makes your life better in all kinds of different ways, doesn't it? Yes, it does. And the best way to find out that criteria is to ask the other person. But if you're accustomed to just going through life making up stories about why I want the dragons in the front and the lawyers in the back, if you're accustomed to going through life making up stories and just guessing about things, then sales is going to be a really difficult life for you. It's going to be more exciting for you, but much more difficult. It's going to be more exciting in the sense that you get to play this lottery guessing game and, okay, I'm guessing that this is the answer. It's like basically going to the track and gambling, right? I'm gambling on this being the reason why this person's going to make a decision today because I'm just guessing. I'm just making this up. And I'm going to put my money on this horse or on this dog or on this whatever you're betting on. I'm going to put my money on this criteria that I just made up, and let's see if it works. It's exciting when it works. I promise you, it's not nearly as exciting to be a salesperson when you just ask people what their criteria is, and then they tell you what their criteria is, and then you just make a sale, and then you just go on to the next one, and you what their criteria is, and they tell you what their criteria is, then you ask them the criteria, and then you, well, now you go home. But yeah, the point I'm making is it's a lot less exciting, right? Sales is not supposed to be exciting. If you think sales is exciting, you're doing it all wrong. And I promise you, you're not making nearly as much money as those of us for whom sales is just methodical. It's just a methodical process, right? You find out where a person is now. You find out why they are where they are. You find out how they feel about being where they are at right now. You know how you find these things out? You ask them, and then they tell you. And then you ask them where they would prefer to be in the future. Where would you prefer to be in the future in terms of your time? Where would you prefer to be in the future in terms of your money? Where would you prefer to be in the future in terms of your reputation? And then they tell you. And then you say, well, why do you think you are where you are now instead of where you want to be? And the answer is almost always going to be what? Because I don't know how to get from where I am now to where I want to be. Because if I knew how to get from where I am now to where I want to be, I'd be there, right?